Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to the Poke Resort. Today we're going to be going over our top 5 characters in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you guys are interested in more content just like this. Let's get into it. We meet Nanu as a mysterious police officer that shows up later on in your adventure while you're on your way to Po Town. He gives you an ominous warning. Those who enter Po Town must be prepared to live as Team Skull or to battle against them. He is mildly shocked to hear you are going to save a Pokemon. Nanu rather not bothers and allows you to go inside Po Town despite knowing the full risks. We later find out that Nanu lives in Ula Ula Island, where he was chosen as the Kahuna by Tapu Bulu. Even despite his lazy personality, Nanu himself couldn't turn down the offer chosen by one of Alola's Tapus. Later on, Nanu worked close by Team Skull because the rent was low and most people rather avoid Team Skull. However, Nanu didn't believe he had the time to deal with them and lets the Thug Gang group take over Po Town. After the main adventure, he helps you, Annabelle, and Looker catch the Ultra Beast and even challenges you to another battle. The whole mysterious, lazy, and powerful trainer really interests me because I feel as if we have never had a character like that in the Pokemon games. Nanu is also a very important character in the story, being the third Kahuna, helping you defeat or lead you to Team Skull and working with you to capture the Ultra Beasts. Great character in Alola. Professor Kukui is definitely one of my favorite professors of the Pokemon franchise. He is a passionate man who lives in the player's new hometown. His area of expertise is Pokemon moves, and is known to take direct hits from them if he thinks he can learn something about them. In his youth, Kukui participated in the Island Challenge with his childhood friend, Molayne. Afterwards, he traveled to Kanto where he challenged the Indigo League and eventually made his way to the Indigo Plateau, but his Elite Four challenge ended after losing to Lance. Some funny quirks to him is he often dresses up as the Masked Royal whenever he visits the Battle Royale Dome. Upon defeating all 4 members of the Elite Four, you make your way to the Champion's Chamber and sit on the throne. However, Kukui approaches the player saying that you have one more challenge to complete before you rightfully take their place as champion. Professor Kukui challenges you to the Champion's Throne, acting as the final battle of the player's Pokemon League challenge. After being defeated, Kukui congratulates the player and names them the first ever champion of the Alola Pokemon League, entering them into the Hall of Fame. This could be the strongest professor both physically and with his Pokemon. Strong trainers have always been something I've admired. He also is the first champion of Alola, and no other professor has ever been the champion of their own region, and I think that's pretty impressive. Overall, Kukui is a fun, strong, and goofy professor, which really makes me love him in Sun and Moon. Team Skull could be one of my favorite evil organizations, and Guzma embodies all that's bad within them. Guzma first appears in the Mali Garden, taunting Professor Kukui, calling both the professor and himself fellow rejects who never could become captains. Guzma then criticizes Kukui's idea of building a Pokemon League for Alola. While he agrees that some parts of the Island Challenge are antiquated, he claims there's no need for a league as he believes he's the strongest trainer in the region. To solidify his position, his grunts have been stealing every piece of Bugnium Z across Alola simply to deny its use to other trainers. Guzma is a dark individual, wishes to show fear and chaos among those who are not of Team Skull, and Guzma sometimes behaves erratically when being defeated. As later revealed, however, he lacks confidence and desperately wants to be taken seriously as a trainer, something Lusamine took advantage of to trick him to serving as her hidden enforcer. For all of his terrible antics, he does have a conscience, seeing how obsessed Lusamine is with Ultra Beasts and her cold attitude towards the destruction they cause, that he has become a danger to the world at large and turns against her. Throughout the game, the player can discover hints about Guzma's past and motivations. He once earned many trophies for Pokemon battling that are still on display in his parents' home, but at some point after taking on his Island Challenge, he ran away from home. He apparently aspired to become a captain, but was unable to. At some point, he was part of a group centered around a previous Kahuna, but after it was struck down by the wrath of one of the guardian deities, Team Skull would arise from the ashes. Guzma wants to fight back against Alola's traditions and assert his own strength. He ultimately fell under Lusamine's influence because she was the only adult who ever acknowledged his strength as a trainer, which inspired his loyalty to her until the events of Ultra Space. Overall, this character had a great dynamic and has had many layers to his motivations, and was fun to see it unwrapped throughout the game. Gladion is another character of mysteries, but it all makes sense due to his troubled past. He was originally a member of the Aether Foundation together with his mother, Lusamine, and his sister, Lily. However, over time, he noticed his mother's obsession with the Ultra Beast and realized that she would ruin Alola if she let Ultra Beasts into the region. For this reason, he decided to leave the Foundation, only telling Wick of his departure. Before leaving, he stole one of the 3 type null created to be a weapon to attack Ultra Beasts. Upon leaving the Aether Foundation, Gladion had 2 goals. 1 to stop his mother, and 2 to free type null from the helmet that was meant to subdue it. He eventually worked as an enforcer for Team Skull, but was never considered an actual member of the team. Gladion may have given off the vibe as being a rival you hate because of the way he talks to you, but he really had good intentions of trying to help his type null and prevent his mother from destroying the region of Alola with the Ultra Beasts. It's a nice ending to the game where your character ends up working with him to stop the Aether Corporation. He is also the main rival in the game rather than How, and I love the badass rival, especially with the recent all too friendly rivals from X and Y and Wally from Oris. Lusamine is definitely one of the most surprising characters in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and that helps her case to being number 1 on this list. When we first meet Lusamine, she claims to love all Pokemon, native to the Alola region or not. While you and How are conversing with her in the conservation area, an Ultra Wormhole appears in which one of the Ultra Beasts emerges. After the player fights it, she claims she will find it and love it just like all the other Pokemon in her care, but we really didn't know what she was talking about until the end of the game. During our adventure, when we make it to the Aether Paradise, we find out all of the experimenting and the devious plans going on with the company to realize the bad guys aren't Team Skull, but the Aether Corporation. The moment we make it to Ultra Space and encounter Lusamine merging with the Ultra Beast, we find out how much of a whack job this woman is. This is the first time we have ever seen a person fuse with a Pokemon, which already had my mind blown, and then she goes on a rant on how her children aren't beautiful and they need to only be beautiful, and her need for only beautiful things in her life. Safe to say we haven't seen a story like this, or for me, ever in a video game. After we defeat her, I literally thought she died as she faded out of consciousness. That would have been a sad and emotional but great conclusion to the game. However, since Pokemon is associated with Nintendo, that didn't happen. I have to say, this character is one of the best and most frightening antagonists in the Pokemon franchise, and she has a great dark theme, which is something we really haven't seen since the first generation of Pokemon. Lusamine really brought it to Sun and Moon, and that's why she's number 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to support this channel by giving a like and share, and don't forget to ring the bell as well if you want updates whenever a new video comes out. Here's some other videos on the channel if you guys are looking into more content just like this. Have a good one, guys, and I'm out.